Hey, everyone. I am back. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. For those of you who tune in every single Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, welcome back. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. We are here live every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern at Black Women Empowered Incorporated Facebook page, YouTube, and LinkedIn Live. For those of you who are tuning in for the very first time, welcome. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. And for those of you who are tuning in to the replay on Dr. Nikisha Hammond YouTube page, be sure to like this video, share this video, and subscribe to the page. So thanks for those who are starting to join here. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. Let me know in the comments where you are tuning in from today. For those of you who are new to Mental Health Moment is all about how do you work on becoming the best version of who you are so you can show up powerfully for yourself and for the people around you, which is important, right? And for those of you who are new to Mental Health Moment, I reside in the Tampa Bay area of Florida. Um, and let me know where you reside in the comments here. And hopefully I'll be able to see the comments here soon. I never know what these comments are wanting to do. Okay. Yeah, and sometimes the comments come in late. But nonetheless, a couple quick announcements. Actually, I'll put it in the chat here for you all. Quick announcement, which is also, yeah, I think it's on all my social media channels as well. .com. Oops, hold on, let me spell this right before I put it in the chat. Okay, there we go. So a quick announcement. If you haven't heard about it, if you live in the Atlanta area or plan to be in the Atlanta area this upcoming week and weekend, the Power Networking Conference and Expo, known as PNX, will be happening in Atlanta. Actually starts tomorrow. So on the 5th through the 8th. I put the link here in the chat if you want to last minute register for it. It's Power Networking ex.com. So powernetworkingex.com, also in the chat. I am super excited to announce that I will be one of the co-hosts for this event. I have actually gone to this event in the past. Absolutely love this event. Great event. If you're looking for leadership skills, if you're looking to connect with like-minded people, if you're looking to level up in your business and your life, all the things, it's a great event. I love this event. So I'm extremely happy to be there and partnering and co-hosting this event. So again, it is in Atlanta, November 5th through the 8th. Yes, that is tomorrow. For many of us, depending on where you live in the world, in Atlanta, powernetworkingex.com is where you can go to register a last minute for your ticket here. But thanks for those who are starting to join here. Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. Thank you so much. Someone said thank you for all you do. Thank you. Thank you for the thanks. New York City's in the house. Welcome. Holland, I think maybe is in the house. Welcome. Virginia, welcome back. Bangladesh is in the house. Welcome, welcome. And thanks again so much for joining here. Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. What else do I have to tell you? I know I have to tell you all something else. I feel like there's another announcement. Oh, there's another announcement, but I'll wait to share that. Sorry. I really don't do that on purpose. There's certain things that I want to share with you all sometimes, and I'm like, wait, no, there's certain details that have to be finalized first before I can announce it. So there is something else I want to share, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to share it this month when everything is finalized on that particular project. So good things coming soon, and I will share with you all. Yes, someone said, has this live just started? Yep, it sure has. And I will share with you all as soon as I can. But again, if you're just now joining, Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. We are sharing together, I say we as a community, different ways for us to really help one another, right? Like there's a lot happening in the world. And before I share today's mental health moment, if you follow me on any social media platforms, which is right here, at Dr. Nikisha Hammond, I believe on almost all the pages that I am on, I have pinned this, but there is an opportunity, I'm sure you've heard because it was global news, about Hurricane Melissa, which struck the island of Jamaica. Hurricane or Category 5, which you literally can't get stronger than that as a hurricane. It was absolutely devastating. But on my socials, it is pinned, reputable place where you can donate. So whatever you can donate is greatly appreciated. I also say this personally because I have family there, friends there, very close friends that have a lot of family there as well. Like this one was very hard. And as a person who lives in Florida and has been through many hurricanes, it's just a lot. Today I was actually so one of the organizations that I'm partnering with in our office is a basically a drop off site for supplies. For the supply drive, they have like a certain list, obviously, of things to donate that'll be helpful and what they're going to bring out there. And so anyhow, so I was in Costco today, just getting some of those said supplies, and like I promise you all, it was I don't know, like I know this hurricane has hit me pretty hard, like because it hits personally, but just being in Costco, like, just even buying the supplies, I was like, "Man, like, you just really it's just really hard." There's a lot of devastation. So, I say all that basically to say, before I start today's mental health moment, that I hope that in some way you can help. I don't ask often a lot of things, on mental health moment of view, but if any way, again, like you said, like I was saying, that you can help, with Hurricane Melissa, with the relief efforts, there's so like the need is so great. The devastation unfortunately was so bad, then please feel free. I mean, it's all over the internet, different organizations, but make sure that you find a reputable one, or you can go to my socials. All of them, like I said, have it pinned. The organization, it's CANDO, which is Caribbean American National Development Organization, is who we're personally partnering with, who is getting supplies basically out there to Jamaica to help like restore, which is going to take a long time to restore parts of the island. So wanted to share that with you all. Someone said, "Oh, they're from Bangladesh." Welcome, welcome. Thanks so much for joining here. Okay. So today's mental health moment, I wanted to share with you all some tips on how to really think about, if this is the case for you, like stop overthinking before you go to bed. And the reason why I share this with you is because and the work that I do, so for those of you who don't know me, hi. And the work that I do, I wear a lot of different hats. So I do own a private practice in the Tampa Bay area of Florida, which I'm at a part of the time. I'm also at with different organizations and corporations and events, speaking and also writing books, and doing a lot of different projects, right? But the time that I am doing the work of still meeting with some patients and hearing different stories, a lot of what I've heard is that people are having problems with sleeping, and that comes from, I would say, the number one thing that I hear, the reason is from overthinking. Like, I've heard countless times from people, them saying like, "I just can't turn my brain off. My mind's constantly running," and that prevents them from falling asleep, which we know, of course, our sleep is very important, right? Or is waking them up through the night. So today's mental health moment, as I mentioned, is about just a couple of tips on how to try. I'm going to put a big asterisk on try to stop overthinking, before you go to bed. I do want to put a huge asterisk on this mental health moment, and all mental health moments really, is that this absolutely does not substitute for any medical advice. Please reach out to a medical and or mental health professional if you are struggling with sleep or other issues to the point where maybe some tips here and there is just not helpful. Because there are well, there's levels to this, right? Sometimes we just have a bad day and we can't fall asleep, or there's something mild, and then sometimes there's literally a sleep disorder that you have, which again, that will leave that up to the medical professionals and sleep specialists and all those sorts of things to sort of dive into that. But I wanted to give you some tips nonetheless. And again, keep in mind that sometimes these, DIY, like do it yourself tips and things to do at home are just not enough. And you do need to reach out to a professional. Okay. Let me check into the chat really quick. Oh no, someone said I can't sleep for 3 days in a row. Oh no. Someone said they're here from Boston. Welcome. Texas is in the house. Welcome, welcome. Thanks again so much for joining here. Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. Okay, so the tips, 3 tips. The first thing is to, and again, I just want to preface when it comes to sleep issues, there is a spectrum of sleep issues, right? Like there's things that are just outside of our control sometimes. It could be medically related or mental health related that need more than like simple tips. Okay. But what you could try is the first one is to think about almost creating like practicing. This takes practice, but practicing creating a worry cutoff time, if you will, meaning you get to the end of your evening and you work on saying, okay, I'm going to want to pause my worrying, and maybe you need to write, like maybe you need a journal and just jot out all the things that are already going on in your head. Maybe you need to write, like, because maybe what you're thinking about is like, what do I need to do tomorrow? What do I need? What did I not get done on my to-do list? Like all those sorts of things that are still running around in your mind, write it down, get it out, tell someone, put it in your phone, like whatever it is you need to do to really think of a ritual at the end of the evening to attempt to say, okay, I'm going to get all this stuff out now. And then that way, the rest of your worries or whatnot, you'll try to do tomorrow. Right. And again, the thing is, this will not work for everyone. Like I mentioned, but sometimes it does, just depending on what may be going on with the overthinking type of thing at night. Right. Um, and the thing is, you start to train your brain on the fact that certain things you just don't need to bring into the night. You don't need to bring it with you when you lay your head down on the pillow and you're trying to get to sleep. You don't need to always be bringing in the worries, especially minor things, right? Sometimes there's just minor things that we're worrying about, which we know we don't need to worry about, versus like obviously there's bigger, heavier things that we may be dealing with. Very different situation. Um, so the other thing is to train your brain and practice telling yourself things like, okay, I can come back to this tomorrow, whatever the thing is that you're worrying about. I can come back to this tomorrow. I don't need to overthink. Um, Training your brain to move into a state of relaxation so you can try to get to bed. And there's I'm going to share 3 tips with you today, but the reality is there's a lot of what's called sleep hygiene that you can do. So this by no means what I'm sharing today is anything to cure, especially if you have a sleep disorder when it gets to that level, or it's something very chronic. Like this is not, it's not a cure, y'all. Just some things to try. But that's the first thing. So again, think about creating that worry sort of cutoff time where you say, okay, maybe it's again right before you go to bed, maybe it's right after dinner, but like just a certain time of the evening or night where you say, okay, let me try to get these thoughts out of my head, just temporarily, so I'm not going to sleep worrying about them. The next thing is really thinking about a wind down period. So something you could try, we've done this on Mental Health Moment actually before. Well, there's something called 5 4 3 2 1, but I'm going to teach you something different. And it's called 3 3 3. And that is when your brain starts going, sometimes you're thinking about this and then you're thinking about something else comes up. You want to try to do your best and pause your mind, pause your thinking, and think about naming 3 things that you can see. So when you're like, "Oh, I gotta do this tomorrow. This happened to me today. This is supposed to happen to me in a week," all those type of thoughts, or maybe it's just sort of spiraling, you pause and you look around and think about naming 3 things that you can see around you. Because what that trains your brain to do is get back into the present moment. Because a lot of times our thoughts are, again, we think about something in the past, we're thinking about something in the future that hasn't even happened yet. We anticipate all sorts of things that may never ever happen, right? Instead of like trying to get back to the present. So again, the 3 3 3 one is name 3 things that you can see around you. The second thing of the 3 is to take 3 slow, deep breaths, because sometimes what we accidentally do, we don't mean to do it, but what we accidentally do when we are overthinking and we're getting stressed out and we're again living in the past or living in what didn't happen or what's supposed to happen or what could happen, like all of that, it literally can start to raise your heart rate. It can start to make you have shallow breathing. It can make you start to sweat sometimes for some of it, right? Like physically, sometimes we feel these things when we're just overthinking in our head. So again, try to think about taking 3 slow, deep breaths so you can work on centering yourself, reducing your blood pressure, reducing your not reducing, but slowing down your heart rate, right? And getting back to a state of calm. And then the third thing is for the 333 wind down. The third thing is to work on relaxing your muscle groups, which is a hard thing to do sometimes because you have to really be present into it and really think about where you're tense in your body. We all hold stress in different places in our body, right? So for you, it might be your neck, it might be your shoulders, it might be your stomach, it might be your back. Like we just hold our stress and tension in different areas. But when you really start to pause and think about where is it that I'm feeling this stress, and work on mentally working on releasing that tension, right, in your body. A way to do that is you sort of like tense, like think if you think of my fist like tense, release, tense, release. That's a way for the body to work on relaxing. And again, I want to preface when it comes to tension, there's a spectrum of tension. So for some of us, we, have some aches and pains because we're stressed out and our body holds that stress. For some of us, these are like chronic pain issues. I've met actually a lot of people who have had chronic pain. So again, not a cure. This mental health moment is not to cure anything. It's just for ways to you to think about alleviating some of these things and hopefully helping you in some way. But again, not necessarily a cure. Um, Someone said, I see sleep as a waste of time. But I want to sleep at a scheduled time frame. I think I don't need that much of sleep. I barely get tired. Interesting. So that may be a conversation that you might want to have with your physician because sleep is extremely, extremely important. There's so many good studies about the benefits of sleep, and what just all the repair actually that happens in our body. And again, I speak from a place of I'll be very transparent. I've shared it many times. I think on mental health moment, I speak from a place of moons ago when I neglected my sleep because I didn't realize how important it was. And then I started doing some of the research and I was like, "Oh." Like I was like, "Wait, so sleeping well and getting good sleep is helping with digestion. It's helping to like literally add years to your life. It's helping to not have the brain fog and the confusion. It's helping you to, right, think more clearly, like and on and on. Like there's all these benefits and you feel better." I was like, "Oh." Right. So I had to make some adjustments. That's the short end of the story. But nonetheless, yeah, definitely. I mean, for some of us, we need to just check in with our physician or and or mental health professional just to make sure that we're on track for what our body needs. Someone said, "Oh, I think it's important that you get up early at the same time in the morning if it's possible." Yep, there's a lot of studies on that too, like to be consistent, right, with your sleep as much as you can. And then someone said, "I feel myself getting in the fetal position and that releases tension and makes me feel comfortable." Beautiful. Beautiful. And like we all what's fascinating is we all have different ways that we feel comfortable and relaxed. So I'm going to say this before I go into my third tip for today, just as a comment on what someone just said. Before I go on to my third tip today about how to stop overthinking before you go to bed. Um, when I listen to I like to do guided meditations a lot. And so when I listen to them, what's interesting is uh, depending on which guided meditation I listen to, some of them or be like, okay, sit, like obviously you're in a chair, like sit in a chair, place your feet on the floor, work on relaxing your body. Others of them will be like, lay down completely. Others of them will be like, you can keep your eyes open if you want to, or close your eyes. Like there's just a lot of different ways to get our minds and bodies relaxed. And it's not I mean, it's really what works for you. I'm a big fan of that. Right? It is really what is it that works for you? And sometimes some of you know, you're like, "Oh, I know what it is," but you need to do that said thing more. And sometimes you're like, "Oh, I don't really know." Right? And then maybe you're exploring what that is, which is all good. Either way, it's all good. Okay. So, third tip. The third tip is uh, this is a pretty easy one. It's an easy thing to do, but like anything, right? It's about executing it and making sure we're staying consistent with that. And so the third thing to think about of how to stop overthinking before you go to bed is to think about finding some type of calming routine before you go to bed. Um, because it is really, really helpful for you to train your brain, for your brain to understand, okay, it is time to rest. Like it is time to rest. It's time to go to bed. So whether that is a cup of tea for you, if that's calming, or glass of water before you go to bed, or I know a lot of people read like right before they go to bed, or listen to some music, or there's what do you call it? There's these like the sound machines that play like rain sounds or forest sounds or the sound of the beach or something, right? But it's sometimes you have to experiment a little bit with it because sometimes you've done certain things, you're like, "Oh, that doesn't work anymore." Right? So sometimes you have to experiment with it a little bit, which is fine. But really finding what is it that gets you into that like calmer state so that you can try to sleep. And again, big asterisk in case you're just joining, it's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. Big asterisk on today's mental health moment that sometimes these tips are just not enough and you do have to reach out, especially when it comes to sleep, with a physician and or mental health professional to really assess like what is all going on. I've met a lot of people who have like sleep apnea or who have had a sleep study to learn what is it that's even causing their sleep issues, if this is something chronic. I mean, if you're sleeping having sleep problems, once every 3-4 months, typically that's not like a huge red flag. But if you're having sleep issues a couple times a week, and it's been happening for a long time, and yeah, you're just not sure what's going on, then it might be best to reach out to a medical professional. Um, Someone said, I know some hypnosis sessions like confidence hypnosis. That's really relaxing. Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah, a lot of people find um well, there's something called self hypnosis or hypnosis guided by someone or meditation or like just again different ways for you to think about how to relax your mind and body. Oh, speaking of that, what we did, I can't remember if some of you were there. Anyhow, what we did at the Growth Mindset and Self Care Summit, which I will be getting you more information about the replay on that, by the way, which was in Atlanta a couple weeks ago, which I hosted, which was amazing. But one of the things that we did during the summit was we took the time to have what's called a sound bath. And for those of you who haven't heard that term before, it's like a sound healing experience. It was awesome. And the facilitator of that, his name is Joel Meyer, and he's in Atlanta area, by the way. So shout out to him. But it was just such a beautiful space. He had some crystal bowls. He um just had different instruments and we were literally just listening, not just, but listening to different sounds. But it was so calming, so soothing. I had so many people that were like, "This was amazing," like, just such positive feedback, and again, I feel like sometimes we we want things to be very complicated or like this, I don't know, like, a really difficult thing that we have to do to improve our lives, but sometimes it's not. Like, sometimes there's just simple things that we can integrate, like again, having that cup of tea or playing that soft music or just finding ways to get into a calm state of mind. It doesn't have to necessarily be sound therapy, but it could. But finding ways that work for you, right? So maybe you love during the daytime spending time at a beach or a lake or mountains or whatever it is that you like doing, that you're like, okay, during the course of my day, I also find things to calm my mind and body down, which does link to your sleep as well, but that's a whole nother mental health moment. So right now, I only have so much time on here right now. I wanted to share a couple of tips with you, like, sort of like in that bedtime routine type of time frame. But also know that what you're doing through the day and chronically what you are doing to your body, that all affects sleep. It all goes together. But again, I need more time. Another mental phone for that. Someone said, is it possible that humans developing during evolution, I think you're saying need a shorter or a longer time of sleep? I think that's what you're asking. Yeah, some of the studies have shown that as we get older, we need less sleep, but we all need different amounts of sleep. I will say that. However, it needs to be quality sleep too, right? Which is why it's really important when we think about sleep as I wrap up today's mental health moment. But when we think about sleep, to make sure we're getting adequate sleep, of course, you've heard this a gazillion times, right? When it comes to your wellness, but I mean, adequate as far as like the number of hours of sleep, but also your quality of sleep is important too. And again, if you're concerned and you're like, man, I've tried some things at home already. I've worked on what's called sleep hygiene, which is like your bedtime routine or how you're winding down or like the things you're doing. Like maybe you've tried some of this stuff and you're like, man, it's just not working. Then again, don't be afraid to reach out to a specialist to say, hey, what's going on here? Because there's so many good benefits of getting good sleep. Well, hi, welcome. Someone said hello, all. Welcome, welcome. Thanks so much for joining here. Dr. Hammond here with you, mental health moment. Also, sorry. Also, I wanted to remind you that the replays of mental health moment, in case you miss any of them, or I know sometimes people come in all different times, which is all good. But if you want to catch the full replays, they are on Dr. Nikisha Hammond YouTube page, so you can always find them there. Um, and just remember again, as I wrap up today's mental health moment, that it really is possible for you to train your brain. There's there's so much related to mental health. I could talk for hours about it, right? But it's very possible to train your brain. Your brain likes routines, putting things into place, reminding yourself, right? Like you're allowed to be happy, you're allowed to thrive, you're allowed to be emotionally healthy, like you're allowed to be physically healthy, like having that thought process is important, right? Retraining your brain, having the bedtime routines that work for you so your mind isn't like wandering all over, right? You're giving yourself more structure. Sometimes we just need more structure, right? In our lives. And your brain will get like, you will get used to that. You'll be like, okay, nope, this is what I need to do before I go to bed. Okay, I'm going to work on relaxing. I've met many people who have changed their sleep routine and their sleep hygiene and had beautiful results. And sometimes it's again harder than others in the journey of sleep, but sleep is very important. There's a lot of good benefits. So definitely work on your sleep. Okay. Um yes, I think that's it. Okay. So if you need me before next Tuesday, you guys can always reach me. Well, drnikishahammond.com is my website to connect, or social Dr. Nikisha Hammond on all social media platforms. Again, if you're tuning in a little bit later, I just wanted to reiterate, if you, which would be mean the world to me, want to contribute in any way to the Hurricane Melissa, which devastated Jamaica. If you want to contribute to relief efforts, please be sure to reach out. You can, if you're local, by the way, in the Tampa Bay area, you can send me a DM. We have multiple locations for their, I mean, there's so many different organizations. So find a location in your area for sure. But if you are local to Tampa Bay, DM me. I'll send you the locations that I'm working with to get the supplies. If you're not local to Tampa Bay, but you still want to help in some way, on I think all my social media platforms, there's a flyer that's pinned on there. It's, you can literally go through Amazon, get the supplies. Like this organization, like I said, that I'm working with is reputable, and we'll get the supplies to the people who need them the most. But I would so appreciate that. That would mean the world to me. And I think that's all my announcement. So, okay. All right. So have a great week, you all. We went over a little bit today on today's mental health moment, but it's all good. But thanks for tuning in. Thank you for showing up for yourself, which is important. Thanks for working on improving your life for you, and showing up as the best version of who you are for yourself and for the people around you. So I will be back next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here live on Black Women Empowered Incorporated Facebook page, YouTube, and LinkedIn Live. Be blessed. Have a great week and see you guys.